For me, I think the biggest thing that football taught me was how to overcome adversity.
At some point in your life, you're going to have some tough times.
You have to have that next play mentality.
That cohesiveness and that working together, that's really something special that you can't get in a lot of other areas.
When you practice that and you live that in other phases of your life, it becomes second nature because all you know how to do is fight.
It's not an easy game. If it were easy, everyone would do it.
You start to appreciate the smaller contributions that people make. You don't just look at the big one because you knew it took 6 or 7 other guys who are unsung.
And you can't take shortcuts and be successful.
Doing what they do to make it possible for the guy getting the press clippings or whatever it might be.
In this game, whether it's as a coach or a player.
So I would certainly say that you definitely got a very quick lesson in how to overcome adversity playing football.
Of Talkin Ball with the Czar. I'm Emery Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, here on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania with head football coach Ray Priore. Coach, appreciate you taking time.
You're welcome, man.
You've been here since 1987. You've been around the block as far as Penn is concerned. Coach every position on defense, 9 years as the associate head coach. And rarely do you see a coach get groomed to take over the head coaching job. And I want to ask if that development, how did that development help you, and did that kind of help prep you for what you were going to face once you stepped into the head role?
Absolutely. It's been obviously in our profession of football, this is somewhat unseen. Start as a young head coach, young assistant, and at the ground level, work my way up through the ranks. And what I was able to do through my career has been exposed to a lot of different things. On top of being an assistant, at points in time being in charge of special teams, in charge of recruiting, learning all the different aspects, along the way. Became defensive coordinator, and then with the great support of many coaches through that time, Ed Zubrow, Gary Steele, and obviously Coach Bagnoli, they allowed me the ability to grow within it and just keep on working for success in all those different areas. And then, as it came on, I'm not sure if you're ever ready to make it. I often say, sit in the pilot seat. Being a co-pilot's really easy, but making those other, head coaching decisions are the other tasks that you really don't know until you get into those into that scenario.
Does it seem like it's the same thing when you went from position coach to defensive coordinator?
I think it all rises, right? I think at every level as you move, the responsibility grows, and you see things just, as a position coach, you worry about just those kids you were coaching. As a defensive coordinator, I was just worried about the defensive kids and not seeing necessarily the big scheme of things. And then as you move into this role, I think obviously you're responsible for everybody. So I just think as you move up, the responsibility gets greater, and welcome the challenge, and it's been fun. But I'll be remiss to say you got to surround yourself with great people. And I think we've been able to put together a staff the last handful of years that are really quality people, great character, great teachers, and great leaders. And I think I think it's important that you sit in this role and surround yourself with those folks.
And you look at stepping into that role, day one. What's the one thing you had to learn that you didn't expect, or how coaches and players tend to plan for everything except for the thing you don't plan for?
Sure.
What was that one thing you had?
I would say the biggest thing going into it was the ability to listen and really take inventory of every aspect of the program, willing to hear different ideas and concepts coming through. Obviously being a defensive coach for so many years, I knew that world, but now you're working with offensive people in there, and really collectively being very open to those things. So I think listening was the first thing, and then not being relaxed. Again, I think you're a defensive coach. You see the world in a fast pace. Let's get out there, ready to go. And I think it's able to sit back. And then I'd say the other thing is just managing the game. I think that's an aspect that gets underlooked perhaps when you move in those roles. How to make those key decisions and key times. And only thing you get there with that is just experience and going through it game by game. I'm learning myself. I feel like a freshman coming into it, and you're learning game by game, and hopefully, trying to get better in that area as we go along.
Coach, you're off to a great start here, back-to-back Ivy titles. What went into that season, or what went into that spring that allowed you to say, like, hey, you know what, this 2016 team is going to be special?
Well, I think you take every season as its own entity going in. I think we went into it saying, let's get back to the basics, the little things that matter. My first opening game wasn't a great one, as we went up to Lehigh, and Lehigh did a good job on us. But we then learned a lot about ourselves, what we need to do and grow. Going into last year's campaign, 2016, I think anytime you have a quarterback that's experienced coming back, I think is key. On defense, the year before, we started with a really young group, and those young men grew and matured as the season went along. So I just think we took it, again, trusting the process step by step and not getting ahead of ourselves and worry about the moment and the second in the world we're in right now, and let's worry about tomorrow, let's worry about today.
And that put you in rarefied air, because not a lot of coaches in the Ivy League have had their career start off with back-to-back Ivy titles. What have you seen this spring to kind of keep that fire lit and those guys to not rest on their laurels?
Sure. I think as a program, I think what you have to do, well, at least in my perspective, is you have to always look at how you can get better. Okay, let's not rest on the laurels of what we've done before. This is going to be, 2017 is going to be a brand new football team with different challenges there, and I think it starts with the leadership of your players. And I think we spent a lot of time in the off season of developing that leadership of the current juniors, soon to be seniors. Winter program was all about back to basics. We're big into it, the little things make the big things happen, and we were just on point with that. And that develops a mindset, a confidence, a way of doing things. And the other part is just enabling again, going back to those juniors, to be really good leaders. And I'm really impressed going through right now through spring ball, and as we enter into the summer, just where our leadership is. I think that's a key to real good football teams.
Communication is key in football, especially on defense. And what I've noticed over the last decade since we started football game plan, that your defenses have been tough, they've been hard-nosed, but they've been disciplined, and they communicate out there. Every level understands what's going on. How important is communication on defense, and how are you able to get these guys to stay in tune, locked in step by step?
Well, the past was the past, and we think we did a nice job back in those days, and you have your good years and those other years. I'd have to honestly give credit to our staff and Coach Benson on defense right now, where again, there is the process, there is the trust. We play with poise, and Bob will say in pride. Okay, we're going to hit and we're going to hustle, and let those be the cornerstone of what our defense is. And I would say on both sides of the football, communication is so key. I mean, it's not just the communication from sideline to player, but how we go out and develop the kids, how they learn, how they teach. It's we got to keep kids not wanting to come up to the office to watch film, okay, to learn what's going on, to be connected to that. And that becomes just really being contagious. The kids learn those work habits there. And then the other part is being very honest with our players. We take a lot of pride in our development of our players through the system to really point out what their strengths, what their weaknesses are, how do you get better within this confines where you are and grow as a team. And it's all about, we call the team life. Okay, it's all about the team. The team is the most important thing. No one individual is more important than the whole. We brought a lot of outside resources in, Navy SEALs and what have you, and those groups will really inspire. That's what their mode of operation is, and we've tried to apply as many of those principles to our world.
Coach, tradition is, I think, the linchpin of any college football program, and we're here at the University of Pennsylvania where you have a Heisman Trophy winner, an Outland Trophy winner. Chuck Bednarik went to Concrete Charlie, went to Penn. The Eagles played out there on the field. How important is tradition to you, and how are you able to get these players to buy into that tradition and when they put on this Penn uniform?
Absolutely. I think, again, been here for 30 years, I probably have a pretty good understanding of the traditions that you just echoed out, and I think it's important for our kids to understand, embrace it, and learn about it. I mean, all those names you mentioned, these folks may have seen them on ESPN, highlight clips now and then. At the end of the day, we look to bring back former alums, okay, who can really talk about their times. This past season, the '86 team was a phenomenal team in Penn history. They went undefeated, 10-0, went down to Navy, beat Navy down in Annapolis for the first time in a long time, and it was really great to hear those those leaders of those teams coming back, talking to the team Friday night before the game to really inspire. And then you play for more than yourself, more than the team right here. Your team, your family, as we call it at Penn, goes well before, in the past. And there's so many people that live vicariously through what we do. I tell the kids all the time, we may not fit stadium seats 60,000 plus, but sure as heck there's probably 60,000 people looking at the ticker, watching on TV, and are really locked in to Penn football. And it's important not just for football, but the campus and the community. We're about building family, all over campus to bring the folks down. And again, we represent not just the football program, but the whole university.
We're at the citadel of higher learning, Coach. Ivy League program, and I'm pretty sure a lot of great philosophers have matriculated here. But as far as football is concerned, I'm always big on talking with coaches and pulling, from them what works and why they are successful. So what would you say is one piece of your coaching philosophy that has made you successful?
Just probably one or two things that really hit home. Been around for long enough to understand we as coaches try to set a whole bunch of rules and regulations, and we have simply one on our team, and that is do the right thing. I think everybody knows what the right thing is, and I think it cuts to the chase. It's supposed to be a practice at 3:30, you have practice at 3:30. Supposed to be wearing white socks, wear white socks. Supposed to be in class on time, you do those things. I think the second part of that is really, as I said earlier, is trusting the process. I think everybody has great ideas and schemes and this and that, but I think through my years at Penn, and we've had some phenomenal years and other years, and I think the way to be consistently good, you can be consistently average, consistently bad, is good, is trusting the process that it takes each year. And I marvel at great coaches, and I could be on there, whether it's Coach Krzyzewski at Duke or coaches across the country, Coach Wooden. I mean, there's what made them probably so successful in their programs are the stickler to detail. Every detail is so important, and just don't forget about that. You got to start on, laying the foundation every year. This year is a brand new team. We have to start at the first step and then work to the first level, second level, third level, and then frame it, put the roof on, whatever, and you build those things step by step. And there's no magical way to do it. There is a process of hard work that goes into it by staff and players, and having those people buy into a process they're a part of, I think is so important.
And the fact that you have to do that because within the Ivy League is so strong. How strong is this league top to bottom?
Very strong top to bottom. I think year in and year out as you go on, and I think you see it just by the records are as they're going through. I mean, you go up to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, just everybody across the board, and everyone's getting better. They're all working, they're all trying to go out there and outwork the other person, get that really good recruit, and find different ways to attack, to defend, and that stuff. And I just think you got to do what you do, find out what your keys to your success at university, try to stress those, work on those. Key to ingredient to being successful is work on your weaknesses. Okay, what are we not good in? Let's try to make those situations better across the board. But year in and year out, it's always a dogfight, and I take this, the philosophy, and we just want to be playing meaningful games in November. That is our goal. The rest will take care of itself, but we got to work hard from game one through that. And hopefully, by we hit November, that last stretch of 3 or 4 games, we can be in arm's length of touching something special.
Coach, we remember a time back in, let's say when you started, how only a few schools were on television. Now students have a ton of options. And you look at the Ivy League, how competitive it is on the football field and also in the classroom, and just from a prestige standpoint. So student athletes nowadays have to really hammer down and pick a great place. What would a student athlete gain from choosing the University of Penn?
We at Penn talk about championing your life. Okay, we really feel on all aspects of what we do. A young person can come here, grow within our program, win in the classroom. It's important that they know they can go into curriculums and majors and areas of study that can vault them in so many different areas. We have the most prestigious business school in the world, the Wharton School of Business. You want to go in business, why not go there? Great school of communications, engineering, what have you. I think you look at our student athletes, a good football player wants a place where they can be successful. We've won 18 league championships, 17, I believe, since '82. It's been a great run, and we continue to be successful. So hopefully our winning or success that we've had shows great commitment from the university, from our alumni and that support, and obviously winning in life. Right, this is going to be 4 years, hopefully, and we have 4 young men who are vying for NFL spots right now, which is great. Our quarterback just signed with Atlanta Falcons. That's phenomenal. But there's life after football. These 4 years will pave the way for the next 40 plus years of their life, and we really feel with our alumnus, our mentoring, what goes into it, the family, the brotherhood, that these guys can get a phenomenal, well-rounded education to set them on a great trajectory moving forward.
Well, Coach, I was at the 2015 game when you guys upset Villanova. I was here last year when you guys knocked off Harvard. So maybe I'm a good luck charm.
Well, we need to bring you back. Get a season pass.
Exactly. But I appreciate you taking time doing this interview and looking forward to seeing you guys go out there and probably putting together 3 consecutive Ivy League championships. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.